Hey Warriors fans, I'm Scott Warris. It's time for our Week 4 Warriors football preview. Can't believe we're already 4 weeks into this. Eric Kresge, head coach, as always, is here. Season goes fast.
It
Here we
flies.
are,
Yeah.
Week 4 already. Let's go back Week 3. A wild one at St. Norbert, the conference opener. The teams combined for 38 fourth quarter points. They get you on a deep bomb with under 20 seconds to go. It was a wild one. It stings, I know, but man, talk about an instant classic.
Yeah. I was really proud of how our team fought. I think we got into half feeling like we left some points on the field. We had some things that we needed to correct. And I'll be honest, I challenged our team a little bit, especially offensively. I challenged our guys to start forcing our opponent to beat us instead of beating ourselves. And I was really proud. I thought our offense answered. We'll talk later, I'm sure, about Bryce and Trey and all the guys that maybe, Emmett, they all made some big plays. But it was fun to see the offensive side start to step up. We know the defense has made some strong play throughout the early part of this season. Whenever you lose a game like that, it's hard. I think, on the outside looking in, everyone's, oh man, you got to be feeling it. And in one respect, yes, because you want to come out ahead. But I was so proud of how we played for each other, how we fought back being down 11, with a little over 4.5 to go. All the little things that go into something like that, the Tony Ziegler onside kick and all the little mechanics that make that go. Like, there's just so many awesome things. So, unfortunately, it didn't finish the way we like to, but a lot to build off of for sure.
Well, you mentioned some of the names and some of the numbers. Trevion Green, a Warriors single game record, 14 receptions for over 150 yards. Couple that with what your quarterback did, Bryce Barbian, 380, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. That dynamic of Bryce and Trey, can you talk about how just 4 weeks in, that's maturing already and growing?
Yeah, there's definitely a connection. Trey's such a versatile player in our offense. We put, I would say we put the most on our offense on the queue, but right behind it is Trey's role. He's literally, we call it the warrior role. And he's got to be able to fit a bunch of different positions and schemes and skill sets. And he's really owned all of them. So I'm proud of him for that. I think what you're starting to see with him and Bryce is, one of Bryce's strengths is the ability to extend a play. And Trey just demonstrates a really good natural feel for space and can make those contested catches. There's a definite connection between the two. And then even Emmett Hawkins, Emmett and Bryce grew up together. So you could see that last play. I'm sure they've thrown that play since 6th grade a billion times. You're seeing some connections with the receiving core, and it's fun to see for sure.
To the point you raised about Bryce being able to extend a play and roll out and maybe improvise when you have to or when the initial call breaks down, what responsibility does that place on those targets, on those receivers, to kind of break off what I was supposed to do, and now I have to kind of improvise to see what my quarterback is doing?
Yeah, I think one, it's the responsibility that the play's not over until the whistle, right? And that's a hard habit to create, but I think they've done a really good job of that. I think the other, there's this idea of scramble rules, understanding where you are relative to the field and your responsibility. If you're the low man, you go high. If you're the far man, you come across, recognizing the different levels, all that stuff. None of it happens, though, honestly, without the quarterback being able to do that. I think in the last 2 weeks, we've seen both Bryce and Trey have demonstrated a really good job of being able to flush and move. If you don't know, Bryce was a baseball guy, so you can kind of see he makes some of these odd arm angle, I don't want to say like Patrick Mahomes, but that type of odd arm angle throws definitely seem to be his specialty. And those are things that I can take zero credit for. The last touchdown, one of our players was like, "Great job, coach." I was like, that was all Bryce and Emmett, man. I had nothing, that was them improvising and just making a play.
After the ball game's over, a hard-fought ball game, a heartbreaker on one side and a thrilling win on the other, and fans who have been to games or were at the game or watched it on the live stream, you always offer a team prayer with the opponent for those who want to take part. And it happened against St. Norbert, and almost the entire team, maybe the whole team, joined you. And then I noticed before you all actually prayed, you were kind of in the middle of this circle.
Yeah.
with the Green Knights players and the Warrior players, and you had some words for the group in totality before the prayer. Can you share with us what you said to all the members of that game?
Absolutely. So every week we offer to pray with the opponent. We really believe this idea that you read in Scripture, this iron sharpening iron, that others, when others bring their best, it forces us to do the same, and that's our aim as well. Whether we win or lose, the goal is to use every gift God gave us today. So I let them know how much we appreciate them doing that, and how much we hope we did the same, and we just pray to bless them. That's a weekly thing. This week was a little unique. I wanted everyone in that prayer group to know like how proud they should be of the effort that they gave. Like, it was a phenomenal football game, and I think Coach McCarty would agree. Like, we had an entire sideline that was all in. Guys that played 80 plays, guys that played 0. Were completely locked in, focused on helping their teammates, emotionally charged up, doing every little thing they could to be their best and hopefully come out on top. And when you do that, like, regardless of the score, you should be proud of taking what God gave you and using it the best you could. So I wanted each side to know that. And it was a really surreal feel. I'll be honest, man, it was surreal. Like,
is that hard? Let me ask you this. Was that hard? Is that in that moment, after an ending like that, is that difficult for you as a coach to kind of, in mere moments, refocus, rechannel, recalibrate to address everyone with the message you just described?
It is. Some games are harder than others. My wife and I, we talked about that a couple times. One thing I'm learning in my coaching journey and just in my life journey is, Jesus calls us to die to ourselves, to take up our cross like He did. And that looks like a lot of different things, but in the sports arena, it looks like laying down your ego, your pride, your desire for a win, to really shine His light no matter what the situation. So yeah, it's very humbling. It's real easy to give glory to God when you win a game or you get an award, or you'll see that a lot. Like, I want to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for giving me these gifts. Yes, but we're also called to love and to give Him the glory even when we don't get what we want. And so I've learned the hard way. It's not easy, but I'm thankful. I feel like I'm being refined for sure.
Let's turn the page. Let's look ahead. That's what we got to do now with the Concordia Falcons up in Mequon on Saturday afternoon. It is the 16th, if my math is right, the 16th edition of the Lutheran Bowl, the battle for the Luther Cup. 8-7, Concordia leads the all-time Lutheran Bowl series. Before we talk about CUW specifically, it's a rivalry in football, I think in every sport, between these two athletic departments. But what makes a good rivalry for you, here or anywhere? Are there certain characteristics that define a quote-unquote rivalry?
I think the best rivalry is a mutual one. When both sides see each other as level competition, right? That I can't come into this week and be less than my best and expect to be successful this week. And I think that's one of the unique things about Concordia, Wisconsin is it seems like it doesn't matter if it's football, both our basketball teams, soccer. I know they just played last night. Congrats, soccer boys, on the win. Baseball. It doesn't matter which sport. It seems like we always are fairly even with one another. And so that rivalry gets intense. I think what makes ours even more intense is the proximity, right? Your two kind of local teams. So you start to have these people that know each other. There's probably going to be 25 guys on their team that know our guys, and vice versa. And so there's all those little elements that the more you know an opponent, I think the more intense the game can be. So,
do you hear from alumni too? When it comes to Concordia Week, will you hear from former players? I mean, you're a former player, so you know the rivalry. You played in the series, but will you hear from past players or past teammates either before or after about it?
Yeah, it means a lot. Yeah. There's been years where maybe the season didn't go the way you want to, but if you beat Concordia, it's a good year. It's
you can go 1-9, but if the one is against Concordia,
yeah, absolutely. And we all. I think part of it is it's a credit to Concordia. They've been a good program for a long time. Since I played here, they were a good program, and so you knew if you played them well and you came out ahead on that, you did a good job. So yeah, I hear from alums all the time, and we're hoping we can make them proud.
Do you talk about it with the team? Or is it just kind of a known entity at this point? Obviously, it's an important game in the standings, period.
Yeah.
But all this other stuff, all this other ancillary stuff that I'm talking about.
We talk about it a little bit. I think at this point, one of the cool things about having more veterans in our program is they're able to share that story already. They're already talking about past game. In the last 3 years, we played about as close, kind of like the St. Norbert game we just had. We played about as close as game you could have my first year here. The second year, we played really, really well. They had just come off a game where they lost their quarterback. I don't think they were totally emotionally ready to play. And then last year was the opposite. They were completely ready to play. We didn't weather the elements well, and they took it to us. So we've seen all spectrums, and so every senior right now can tell you like how much this game means to them, and it's going to be fun.
And it'll be a tough matchup as well. It's at their place. This kind of finishes this little mini road trip that you guys have all been on. For the folks who are going to watch or hopefully make the short trek up to Mequon, give us a little thumbnail, a little scouting report on what CUW has been doing so far and what maybe you guys can do schematically against it. Don't give away all the secrets.
I won't go in the full game plan, but
no.
I think their offensive coordinator, his name's Coach White, does a really good job presenting some different schemes in the run game. So you'll see that being a huge area of focus. They've got a new receiving core. Quite a few of those guys are new faces, but they definitely are starting to step into their own a little bit. Last week they had some big plays against Lakeland. They were outgained by Lakeland substantially, but they made plays when it counted. The third down conversions, the red zone opportunities, those types of things. So offensively, hey, we've got
it's
some.
A sign.
It
Keep
is
going,
a sign.
Coach. It's a sign.
And then defensively, Coach Etter, that's his unit, and he's always done a nice job. You got to prepare. They like to pressure at times, and so that's been a huge area of focus is handling their pressures. I won't give up the game plan, but we are excited about the matchup, and I think our guys, more importantly, are just excited about taking another step forward after last week.
CUW bugging the studio here.
I hope so.
Okay, we'll let you go on this. As always, we like to throw just kind of a random question that was sent in. If you want to submit a question for Coach, you can email it to sports.info@wlc.edu. Sports.info@wlc.edu. Okay, this one comes from Milwaukee. South side of Milwaukee, it's James. And he asks, James, if not a football coach, what other career or job would you have liked to have pursued,
That's
ventured
interesting.
towards?
Yeah,
if you
that's
weren't doing
interesting.
this, what might you have been doing?
So ironically, I didn't think I was going to be a coach. I was trying to play as long as I could. I was blessed to be able to play a couple more years after college, and then I really felt I got a call from my old high school coach at Cedarburg High School, Coach Lier. I don't doubt you watch these, but hi if you're watching. And he had he asked me to be a part of his staff in 2010, and it was just the right season and time. And I really felt like like I've learned a lot from this game. It's really helped serve me in many ways. Like maybe this is a chance to get back to young people. And so we had an awesome run. We ended up making it to the state championship game. Played one of Wanakee's really good teams and got throttled in the game. But it was still a really special year. And along the way, I've just built these relationships with the kids. And I was like, like I really feel like, I don't know if coaching is the call, but I feel called to help young people. So my gateway into coaching was through a graduate assistant program. I wanted to get back into education. I didn't want to teach, but I wanted to mentor. So I thought counseling was that path. So I went to get my master's in counseling, and along the way just learned really I got to see how at the college level you can really help young men step into adulthood. And it just so happens the language that we're using is football. And so it was this long cascading of events to get into coaching. But I share that to say it would probably something in that realm of education, counseling, maybe ministry, in the ministry being like a pastor, something in that role, just helping young people, helping people discover who God called them to be. So.
And in the end, the title under your name may be football coach, but you're a teacher.
Yep.
You're a counselor.
Yep.
You're a minister.
Yep.
I mean, all of those roles
just check the boxes.
Are rolled into one,
Yeah.
even if football coach is the title. All right.
Yeah.
Eric Tresky, football coach, and your Warriors head to Concordia. It'll be Saturday, 1 o'clock. All the links, of course, at WLCsports.com. But it's a short drive. They have an off-ramp now on Highland. It's so easy to get to Concordia.
Easy. 72 and sunny. It's not going to rain, so perfect day to come out.
No excuses. Thanks for watching, everybody.